Walk into a dance club anywhere from Tokyo to Bogota tonight, and you will hear the same rhythmic pulse. Millions of people across wildly different cultures now step in unison to this singular global soundtrack. While the rhythms have deep Caribbean roots, the commercial genre of salsa actually crystallized on the streets of New York City. The word salsa literally translates to sauce. Industry marketers chose the term to describe a fiery mixture of musical ingredients rather than a single original rhythm. Salsa functions as a deliberate assembly of these ingredients, a modern recipe designed to turn disparate folk traditions into a unified commercial identity. The framework for this recipe originated in eastern Cuba during the early 20th century. A style called Son Cubano provided the basic structure, relying on a call-and-response vocal tradition that still defines the genre today. This structural framework is governed by the clave. It is a foundational 5-beat pulse, consisting of 3 beats followed by 2, that dictates how every other instrument in the band must be arranged. During the 1940s and 50s, mass migration brought a generation of elite Caribbean musicians into Manhattan, placing these traditional Cuban rhythms into a new urban context. At Manhattan's Palladium Ballroom, band leaders like Tito Puente blended the fast tempo of Afro-Cuban mambo with the complex horn arrangements of American big band jazz. These musicians were playing the raw components of the genre in the same room, but the sound still lacked the unified name required to reach a global audience. The 1962 U.S. embargo on Cuba severed the musical pipeline to the island. This political blockade cut New York-based musicians off from the primary source of their rhythms. This isolation shifted the creative epicenter of the music strictly to the Puerto Rican and Latino neighborhoods of the South Bronx and El Barrio. In 1964, Johnny Pacheco and Jari Nasucci founded Fania Records. They gathered these local rhythms and packaged them under the catchy commercial banner of salsa to reach a broader demographic. The Fania roster, including Willie Colón and Héctor Lavoe, pioneered a sound called Salsa Dura, or hard salsa. It featured highly aggressive trombone sections and gritty lyrics that vividly reflected the daily realities of the urban neighborhood. The embargo transformed the music from an imported folk tradition into a localized soundtrack of urban resilience for New York's Latino community. In 1950s Havana, social clubs danced a style called casino, which involved partners traveling in wide, interlocking circles. However, the crowded nightclubs of 1970s New York offered very little floor space for such movement. Dancers adapted to these packed rooms by inventing New York style. They abandoned circular movement for a linear geometry, where partners stay within a narrow slot on the floor. This style emphasizes the on-two timing mechanic. Dancers execute their sharpest change in direction, the break step, precisely on the second beat of the measure, creating a smooth and elegant aesthetic. By the 1980s, the music industry pivoted towards Salsa Romántica to compete with the rise of disco and hip-hop. This iteration traded aggressive brass for slower tempos and pop-infused melodies. These slower tempos caused a split in how people danced. While social dancing remained a daily activity, a separate world of stage performance emerged, focusing on choreographed routines and theatrical tricks. Salsa ensured its survival by remaining structurally flexible, altering its physical geometry and musical aggression to match the changing commercial market. By the 1990s, salsa had expanded into an international industry. Instead of remaining a single monolithic style, it splintered into several hyper-distinct regional identities. On the West Coast, dancers developed LA style. This is a flashy, explosive variant that incorporates visual flair from Hollywood stunt work and swing. In Colombia, Cali style takes a different approach. It is defined by an incredibly fast pace and intricate leg movements, while the dancers' upper bodies remain completely still. Meanwhile, musicians in Cuba modernized the sound into timba, a highly aggressive fusion featuring heavy funk, R&B, and interlocking circular dynamics. Salsa successfully traveled the globe because it is a constantly evolving mixture, a sauce that takes on the flavor and the history of whoever steps onto the dance floor.